Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a really cool watch for you provided by WatchGecko. They actually reached out to me and sent me this piece for review. So here I am. It's definitely not something I normally would have on the channel. It's quartz, it's a little bit larger, but I think it's a pretty cool piece and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it with you guys for a little bit of kind of a different review today. So let's go ahead and zoom out. As you guys might be aware, WatchGecko is, you know, they're pretty much known for their straps, but now they actually do have watches as well that they have, and this is their ZD1 Pro Diver. So basically it does come here, you know, on a bunch of different straps. You know, the orange and the blue, it actually comes with all of them, which I think is actually a pretty cool selling point. And as you can see there, these are all pretty high quality as far as the straps go. I've actually purchased a couple of these Zulu diver style straps from various locations, and I've been pretty happy with them for my Seikos as kind of OEM replacements. So this piece definitely is very reminiscent of kind of, you know, that common design language that you'd see in a Citizen diver or a Seiko diver, you know, from the tuna line, or it even has some hints to me of that kind of kettle shape of an Oris Aquis, so which is, you know, one of my favorite watches as well. So I think it definitely has a lot of potential for what it is, and I mean at that price, it's pretty tough to beat. You know, just 170 bucks basically, and then the fact that it's 500 meters water resistance. Let's go ahead and take a couple look at the stats here. So we're gonna have that Seiko quartz, the VX43. Of course, the diameter is 47 millimeters, which is pretty big, but because of the very short lugs on here, you'll see when I have it on wrist, it actually wears a lot better. I shouldn't say better, but smaller. And then of course 50 atmospheres, water resistant. You know, the bezel itself is only 43 millimeters, so although the case jots out a little bit bigger to that 47 width, the bezel itself is very smooth. Nice buttery bezel. I mean, there's a little bit of play, but I mean, that's one of those things, it's kind of a trade-off, right? When you're looking at a diver, you want something that's going to be nice and notchy and precise, but you still want it to be, let me go ahead and wipe some of the dust off of this here. You're still going to want it to have, you know, smooth enough use, because if you can't turn it and this is the tightest action ever, it's kind of useless, right? So this kind of reminds me of, again, very Citizen feeling, Seiko feeling bezel action on there. Audibly, really nice, pleasing tone though, which is nice. So of course, the glass, the crystal is a sapphire, scratch resistant, which is really nice. Guess we don't really need to know about 12-month warranty is pretty nice, and then of course it does have the highly legible orange hand. So definitely check it out on their site. Cool brand. I like to see when people kind of step out of their comfort zone and, you know, try to bring something to the market. And I gotta say, I was pretty pleasantly surprised that, you know, I'm not huge really into quartz watches, but the way this wears, it's pretty nice. So let me get it one notch tighter on there for you guys. Then of course the nice thing about these keepers is you can have one forward and one rear. It's gonna help it wear really nice, but as you can see, you wouldn't think this is a 47 millimeter. I mean, to me, I mean, I have a 7 1/4 inch wrist, and you know, there's no overhang. Those lugs are nice and short. You know, they angle down, and you know, this is actually still a really comfortable watch considering that it's covering so much space on my arm. 47 is definitely, I might have to say this is the largest diameter watch we've had on the show. We did have the Orient. I think that was a 46. That was kind of their, at least what I thought Orient might be bringing. When they did bring it to the US market, they might call it the Mako XL2. They ended up calling it something else altogether. But anyways, I think, you know, that's much bigger piece. But as you can see here, the dial, it has a very nice matte black finish to it. It has a day-date complication at the 3 o'clock. It's actually really early in the morning, so that's why the day is in another language. It'll switch over. I mean, if you guys are aware of, you know, some of the lower end movements, that's just kind of how they go. They don't have the quick change. They kind of drift through. But as you can see, really nicely done. Feels good on the wrist. I mean, this is definitely something, you know, maybe instead of putting on a G-Shock and going out to do the yard work, or, you know, take to the lake, the lagoon, the beach, whatever, this is something you could definitely take and feel very confident in its durability. And, you know, if it gets knocked around, it's not going to be much to replace. And honestly, I think it's going to take a lot to actually damage this bad boy. So, you know, definitely a cool piece. A little larger than I prefer. Then of course, if they had an automatic, that'd be great. But the nice thing is they're actually releasing some automatic watches. Let's go ahead and check that out. They are going to be releasing some automatic watches in the future. So let's see here. See if we can go to home and we can check some of those out. I definitely wanted to kind of get an idea of what they were going to bring to market for future runs, and that's one of the nice things about kind of getting my hands on this. I already know that if they can have something with this type of quality, water resistance at this price point, you know, with a quartz, so I can be kind of prepared for when they come out with their automatic piece. And looks like this is still on Kickstarter, so it's not in stock yet, but I believe this is their, yeah, 41 millimeters, definitely more in line with what you'd normally see on the channel. 300 meters water resistant, uses a 90-15. So I mean, something like this I think is really cool. And ooh, looks good in the blue too, you guys can see that. So I think that's pretty nice. And then, oh cool, I didn't even know they had this one, the steel with the old radium lume. So yeah, I think that looks actually really cool. Which one's your favorite? The nice thing is with the confidence they've kind of given me in this little piece here that they sent over, I definitely am more interested now to see how this is going to turn out. I think these have a really cool vintage kind of aesthetic that's really popular right now. I mean, this kind of reminds me of those new Bremont Supermarines that have recently come out that are a lot more wearable. I think these are really great sizes. Oh man, I'm kind of torn between the blue and that. Yeah, it's tough. I think that blue is really cool. I'd like to put that like on a gray strap. Let's see, what's the lug width? Does it say it on here? Looks like it doesn't, so they're still working on it. But yeah, I wonder, check out the Kickstarter page, see if it's up. Okay, well, looks like they're about 18 days away. And yeah, man, I like these prototype shots. So hopefully I'll be able to see one of these on the channel soon. I'm definitely very interested in this, especially with the level of finishing that we see here on their current diver. I mean, this is definitely professional level, 500 meters water resistance, deeper than you'd ever need to go. Oh, one thing we can do though is, let me pull this off and let's do a lume shot. Let's see how this lume holds up here. It is printed lume, so we'll see how that can go either way. In my experience, I've seen some lume that's printed that it's very short-lived, and I've seen some lume that is more thickly applied. You know, of course, applied indices normally will help, but ooh, yeah, it takes a nice charge though, huh? The lights aren't even off yet. So let's go ahead, hit the lights, see how this goes. All right, wow, that is nice and bright. Pretty surprised actually. I was a little worried. I thought it was going to be a little bit dimmer than that. So as you can see, seconds hand ticking away there. You know, true diver's watch. You have that point of reference here in the bezel for timing. Ooh, got my finger in the way. So pretty nice there. Lines up even nicely in the dark. So let's also do this while we're here. Let's get a little low light footage so you can kind of see in more natural light, not just the harsh studio lights here, how this piece looks out in the daylight, out in the real world. It's a good looking piece. I think most people would see this and automatically assume that it is a Citizen diver or a Seiko diver, but you kind of get to have a cool story, and then this is way more water resistant than 200 meters, which is normally what you'll find in this price range for Citizen and Seiko divers. So it's really nice to see that kind of you know, at every level of kind of the watch tiers, you can still have these pieces that come along that pay homage to, you know, the watches that came before them, and also at the same time, you know, add sapphire, add extra water resistance. You know, comes with 3 different strap options out of the gates there, so you get the orange strap, the blue strap, or the black strap, and you can kind of play with that all on your own. So if you're new to the watch game, it just gives you a little bit of time to kind of figure out what's for you, and gives you something that's pretty versatile. You know, classic black and steel look, classic orange hand there, which is really great, ultimately legible if I was going to take something out to dive. You know, of course a quartz is going to be very reliable, very shock resistant, you know, and less to worry about, right? Just generally less to worry about, especially at this price point versus an automatic. So although there are cheap automatics out there, cheap automatic divers that have 200 meters water resistance, I think the build quality on this thing's built like a tank. And I know there's a big market for people to wear larger watches because they sell like crazy. And although this is a little bit larger than I would normally wear, I gotta say the way that they executed it as far as their proportions and the shape of the case and the lugs, kind of all of that, you know, as being a sum of kind of its design cues, I think it all comes together to create something that is different and does stand out, while at the same time, you know, maintaining a very classic look and aesthetic that speaks to the kind of, you know, any dive watch fan. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you like the video, please hit like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.